Guys, welcome to Real Talk. It's Jerry Miller. Happy Friday morning to you. Live across Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, in the world. Keith Smith and Jerry Miller, Real Talk, powered by the Yes Team Realtors, powered by Roy Wheeler Realty Company, powered by Hairsmith and Company, powered by First Heritage Mortgage, baby. And let's go to the two-shot, the studio cam, and let's welcome the star of the program, Keith Smith, to the show. Que pasa, hombre? How you doing right now?
Que pasa, amigo? We're going to have to learn a little bit more Spanish. You have to teach me
Mi
some
madre
more.
es cubana. Yo hablo español muy bueno, chico.
Yeah, I barely speak English, but we'll work on it. Morning to you, my friend.
Great to be with you. I think we need to start by celebrating some of the fantastic new sponsors. Let's first give some love to Hairsmith and Company.
So, Hairsmith and Company is the reason why at least I look so good. It happens to be my sister. So we'll send out some information about them, but any opportunity to go out there and get your hair done and worked on, she's the lady for Charlottesville.
Hairsmith and Company on Market Street.
On Market Street.
She's talented. She's intelligent. She knows about Charlottesville. She's a conversationalist. She's charming.
And good looking.
Well, she's a Smith.
She's a Smith.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay. Mike Beatrick in First Heritage Mortgage.
Yeah. So Mike is a dear friend, been around. We actually did I was thinking of it this morning. My wife and I bought our first house in 1988 and did it with Mike. And we're going to talk a little bit later about, and I'll probably bring it back up again, but we're going to talk about interest rates and all that stuff. So just to put it in perspective, in 1988, our first house, I paid 18% interest and was happy to get it on a $100,000 house.
I was going to say, they were lower priced homes.
Yeah, but
that's all relative.
It's relative because that $100,000 house is now worth $300,000.
Right.
On that.
And now the 30-year fix, 4.25%.
Yesterday was 4.25%.
I mean, that's amazing. That's cheap money.
Yeah, compared to 18%, it's really cheap money.
I mean, it's a testament that if like you're renting right now, the ability to buy at a 4.25% 30-year fix. I mean, it's a no-brainer, Keith.
Absolutely no-brainer, and that's on a 30-year conventional, but there are some awesome first-time home buyer programs out there that, zero down, almost the same rate. We'll maybe later on we'll talk a little bit about Fulvana County and Lake Monticello, but there's USDA rural loans out there that are 0%, down as far as money down, and some of them are below the 4.25% rate. So there's some really excellent products out there. Reach out to Mike. Mike will get you taken care of. I think at some point you'll put up his number, and if not, I can surely give it out on the air.
Yeah, give out the number. Mike Beatrick, guys, good people, First Heritage Mortgage.
Absolutely. It's 434-227-5096. I had to be careful there. I'm dyslexic. I almost read that backwards. So it's 434-227-5096, and tell them you heard it on Real Talk.
There you go, guys. Welcome, Neil Williamson, to the show. Neil, we love you. The chair is always open. We should get you on Real Talk, Neil Williamson. Yonna, hello. I hope you're doing well. Your beautiful wife is watching right now.
Cool.
Next time Yonna join us, we would love to have you here. You would certainly make the set look a lot better.
Well, she had a doctor's appointment
Yonna?
today, so we couldn't miss that.
We're gonna so let's get into credit score. So one of the things we're trying to do with Real Talk is we're trying to take the real estate category in totality and make it more approachable and more understanding, and make it more digestible. He's an expert. We're going to take the language and we're going to bring it to you so you can learn and you can improve your portfolio, your wealth, your future. Credit score is it's the first step to buying a home.
It's the most important part of the first step. You need to, and that's what we're going to hopefully talk a little bit about today. Pop up a couple of infographics that we've created, and your team is awesome.
Thank you.
As always, to go in there. But I'll tell you, I learned something this morning, which I think you said you knew, and I'm supposedly the expert. I didn't know this until the conversation I had with Mike Beatrick this morning on the way in. I did not realize that your credit score affects how much you pay in PMI, which is
Principal mortgage insurance.
Correct, private mortgage insurance.
Okay, private mortgage insurance.
But in any event, so to simplify that is if you get a loan that's over 80% loan to value, so if it's like 85% or 90%, you need to, you're required by the mortgagees to have primary principal. Now you got me confused.
Private mortgage insurance.
Thank you, private mortgage insurance. So in any event, so the important thing about that is as your credit score goes down, your fee goes up, which I did not know to this morning. So it's very important that that you keep your credit score healthy. So we can maybe talk a little bit about that or jump in however.
Absolutely. And I got a question already coming in. This
Sure.
question's coming in from Tim in Crozet.
Hey,
Yonna's
Tim.
absolutely right. Depends on credit score. Thank you. It's true, Yonna. It's true. You would make the place look more beautiful. I totally mean that. Tim in Crozet says this. I want to improve my credit score. Do you suggest me going to a credit repair specialist? I'm interested in purchasing a home, and I know the credit score needs to be improved. That's a good question.
It's a pretty awesome question.
Yeah.
So thank you, because now you just teed us up for everything we want to talk about. So your credit score is important, and I think at some point we're going to put up an infographic. But
Harris is going to cue that up. Our director, Harris Tolber.
thank you, Harris. So first of all, I don't know where you're at, but you need to be at 700 pretty much for a good credit score. As your credit score goes down, your interest rate goes up. So we talked about this a little earlier. So, what we just quoted, the 425 rate as of yesterday, is a 740 credit score. Every 20 points that you drop in your credit score, your interest rate goes up. So again, it's really important. So a couple of things, the gentleman's first name again?
Who's that?
That X question.
Tim Ryan in Crozet.
Tim. So, I would not discourage anybody to go to a credit repair or
Specialist.
I would really suggest you reach out to Mike or somebody in his team. It won't cost you anything. You'll talk to them a little bit about your circumstances. He'll give you a path on how to improve your credit score. But, a couple of things, quick things, you need to keep your balances low, obviously. If you have a high balance, one balance card, multiple cards, you want to pay your highest interest one first. Try to get that cleaned up a little bit. I always recommend people setting up on automatic bill pay, so this way you don't miss a bill payment or you're busy and you forget to send a check. Something simple as missing a electrical payment. It could affect your credit pretty adversely, frankly. And usually, kind of with credit cards, what I do, I use it as a tool, right? I whatever I buy, I pay off in 30 days. And if you keep that up, your credit score would jump pretty darn quickly. Another thing, that if you have a couple of credit cards and stuff, don't close them.
Yeah, you never want to close them.
Because it dings your credit score.
Of course.
Actually, it's best to leave like a couple $100 on it.
Yeah.
Something like
so
that.
Interestingly, cut to the chase. This is one of the things we're trying to do with the show. I'm clocking an 810 score right now. And how I got to 810, and it's taken time. How I got to 810 was how you can improve your score is legitimately opening up some lines of credit, making purchases on the lines of credit, keeping a small balance from month to month so the credit card company can get their juice. I'm not talking thousands. I'm talking a couple $100 from month to month, and then paying them off so that you can see that the credit companies can see that you are trustworthy and are paying off your cards. If you open up some lines of credit, you run some money on them, and then you pay them off over a couple of months, your score is going to go up over time. And that score right there is so paramount, and you know this, so paramount to the first stage of qualifying for a loan to purchase a property, whether it's a condo, whether it's a townhome, whether it's a single family.
So obviously the higher the credit score, you get just a better rate. You're in a better negotiating position with the lenders. The lower, you're just not in a position of strength. So, again, to kind of finish, a couple of things that you can do to help it, some folks like to move their debt from a credit card that is maybe saying 15%, and you get a credit card that comes in that move it over here for 0. It fiscally makes sense, but what happens is you get a ding on your credit card, on your credit score. So it's just better to pay that off. I know that's easier said than done.
And your credit report.
Correct.
Yeah. So he's basically saying balance transfers from one credit card to another. You can find some credit cards that come in, say 0% interest for the first 12 months. You may have a couple thousand on one credit card. If you transfer that balance from the 15, 17, 18% interest rate to one that has 0% interest rate for 12 months, that's going to ding you on the report.
Big time.
That's good knowledge.
It is. So, one of the, and I mentioned this earlier, what I do, and one of what I call my power tips is, pay this off before the end of the month. So if you are, the old American Express card used to be that way, right? You got a 30-day grace period to pay it off. If you can figure out how to use that as a tool and pay that off in a very short order, your 6-something will just climb up. And though credit repair folks are fine, at the end of the day, their businesses, you're going to have to pay them to do that. Where if you sit down with somebody with Mike and open up to what your credit situation is, he will give you a path, and it won't cost you anything.
I love it. Leontini Clay Peck just shared the show. We love you, Leontini Clay Peck. She's the chair of the Queen Charlotte organization that's bringing attention to Queen Charlotte, the namesake of Charlottesville, Virginia. We appreciate you sharing Real Talk. This portion of Real Talk, thanks to First Heritage Mortgage, Mike Beatrick's outfit, a fantastic organization. They should be your first connection, your first call if you're trying to purchase a home. We appreciate you, Mike Beatrick, for being a part of Real Talk. Harris Tolber, we're creating a sizzle reel from the beginning where we started talking about credit scores all the way through here. If you're working with a buyer, and what part of the conversation does the credit score come in? Do you ask that early on when you're working with a buyer?
Yeah, so technically, we really won't ask you for your credit score.
Okay.
So and we're just trying to share information so that you understand what the credit score means before you come to us. So one of the first things we will ask is, have you spoken with a loan officer? So, that's the first step. First step is to get with somebody like Mike, a loan officer. He'll review your credit score. We don't necessarily need to know that to help the buyer, but we do need a pre-qualification letter. In order to get a pre-qualification letter, you're going to meet with a lender. You're going to give that person your credit score, and if it needs some help, and we can help with the lender to help you get your credit score up a little bit before we do that. That's when the credit score conversation, from our perspective, first time meeting on a buyer, the first question is not necessarily what do you want to buy. Have you sat down with a lender yet?
So you want the pre-qual letter?
What we want to set the expectation that the buyer understands what they can afford.
Absolutely.
What we don't want to do is show them a home they can't afford, find out they fall in love with it, find out they can't afford it. And our last show, we talked about our role. Our job really is to create relationships. That is not good for a relationship to get started.
Yeah, you're setting expectations. You want to, and the same thing we do here. You want to underpromise and overdeliver in business, and that's what the Yes Team Realtors does, undoubtedly, without question. If you want to get the lower third up, talking about the Yes Team and how to contact them, Harris, that would be good. Michael Guthrie is joining us on the program. He's the CEO of Roy Wheeler.
Good morning, Michael.
And he says the best loan officers can help you improve your credit score at no cost.
That's exactly what I just said.
That's what you said? Mm-hmm. Mike Beatrick at First Heritage Mortgage is the point of contact there. Another question coming in. I love the questions. Where are the best places to find my credit score? I know my credit card offers a look into my credit score sometimes, but where can I find my credit score to follow it? That's a good question right there.
It's a great question. So the government, and I don't have the website off the top of my head, but you're allowed one free credit score a year.
Right. With no ding.
With no ding.
Right.
Absolutely. So I would suggest you Google it. The website escapes my memory at the moment. But you're allowed one credit score without dinging it. Now, for instance, I happen to have a Discover credit card.
Yeah.
And I can look at it anytime.
I have a Bank of America credit card, and they show it.
That's exactly right.
They show it. And in fact, they show it to you. They update it to you each month. I don't know if you're getting it with Discover. I'm getting the email notifications from BOA saying, score. And I try to follow that.
So I get it with the BOA, Discover, whatever cards that we have. So certain cards, and that doesn't affect your credit score. It's not a ding. It's kind of an ongoing running. So if you have one of those credit cards, you could probably reach out to them and kind of keep a track on it. I literally have an app on my phone that tracks my credit score on it.
I love it. And it's important to emphasize, guys, that and welcome Ike Allen to the program. Under Xavier, welcome to the program. Neil Williamson, thank you for liking the show. James, thank you for liking the show. Jay Dominic is in the mix right now. Give the show a like,
Somebody
give a
like
share.
Jay's another loan officer.
Yeah, movement, right?
He can totally help you with this.
I'm going to throw this to you. I think it's important, and sometimes I see this with fellow millennials. And the millennials are the booming buying market. We all know that.
I love them.
I know you do. I know you do. And you have a good way of working with millennials, okay?
Thank you.
I think millennials sometimes, and some of my friends I've seen that have maybe not the best score from decisions that they've made in like their early 20s after college when they just, weren't staying on top of things. There's a tendency of like burying your head in the sand and saying, oh my gosh, this is terrible. You can get out of a bad situation is where I'm going with.
Well, first of all, that's a bad thing to do for any problem, right? Regardless of what that issue might be. It's not going to go away on its own. So again, as Mike quoted, reach out to a loan officer, whoever your preference may be, and they'll help you do that. But if we can pivot a little bit to talk a little bit about what actually goes into a credit score, I think that's an important thing to know. So I think we had a small infographic on that.
Yeah, he's putting them up.
Cool. Yeah. So your payment history is 35% of that. So that's a huge chunk. So you need to make sure that you're paying when you're supposed to be paying on time. A little bit early is always better. 10% is the actual use of the credit line, whatever that might be. Some uses affect the credit score a little bit on the negative end, therefore going up. Then what we talked about, the inquiries, is about 10%. So every time that you go ahead and try to fill out something online to check out your credit or open up a credit card or something like that, 10% of that total number is part of how this number, your credit score fluctuates up and down. 15% of that is your credit history. And then 30%, which is the other second largest chunk, is actually how many accounts you have. So it's a kind of a balance, right? You want to have enough so that you can establish the credit history, but then you don't want to have too much. So it's more of it's somewhat of a science, but it's also a little bit of an art to kind of balance this out. And keep on saying this: get in front of a loan officer as no cost, and they'll help you kind of architect your credit to where it needs to be.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Guthrie says some credit statements will show you your credit score each month. This portion of Real Talk, thanks to Mike Beatrick's team at First Heritage Mortgage, undoubtedly your first contact when trying to get into the home buying experience. Jonathan Golasso, welcome to the program. Leontine Clay Peck has a joke for us. Hey, Keith. Is it
a hair joke?
Hey, Keith, is there a place where I can get some free money? Just kidding. Thank you for this valuable information. I love what you guys are doing with this show.
You can get free money, but usually you end up in jail.
Right. I think that's called, I think you're totally right. You know what, Harris Tolber, on that note, I think what we need to do is we need to go to the sock cam.
No, don't do that.
Let's go to the sock cam. What do we got over there? We got the sock cam. There's going to be a sock cam part of every program. Show them the sock cam. The sock.
This is too much fun.
No. I mean, these are good. You got some pastels, some blue and some pinks on right now on the sock cam. I utterly love what's happening right now. The Hairsmith, there's the sock cam right there. The Hairsmith guys, Hairsmith & Co., undoubtedly the place you want to go from a haircut standpoint in Charlottesville. One of the things we wanted to segue to, love the sock cam, Harris Tolber. Oh, gosh.
I'm afraid to see what's going to happen next week.
This is going to be such a good show as it matures. Your friends are watching. Justin Montgomery, Joe Garrix watching right now. Your team member, Megan Perry, thank you for joining us on the show. Harris Tolber's our director. Let's segue into the car report. And you have a number of infographics to queue up there. I'll take that for you.
Thank you.
The show is yours. Open-ended question, and this is going to be the second sizzle reel. The first one should be the credit score in totality, start to finish, Harris, the whole thing. This is the second one with the car report. Talk to us open-ended, what you saw with this report.
So we talked last week last week a little bit about the infographic that they put out, which was really very helpful. We talked a little bit about, how home sales were down a little bit by 6%. The average price was up. Days on market was up to 85%, and the supply was 4.9%. So what I was hoped we might do today is dig a little bit more into the details of it. So one of the things that CAR has done this year, or this quarter, frankly, that is different in the past, and if I get a little bit too
Technical?
many technical or acronyms, walk me back, please.
Okay.
So previously, each jurisdiction or each county, you'd have like 16 to 17 to 20 pages of data per report, and what they've done is they work with Virginia real estate realtors, and they've created a condensed report that is way more data than the infographic, but it's just not this tidal wave of data that is sometimes difficult
to digest, to understand, to comprehend.
To digest. So just a couple of things that I wanted to, and I think we're going to be able to send that out on a website. Thank you. So I think, if you have to pardon me, I'm going to flip a little bit here because there's a specific thing that I wanted to talk about is the days on market.
DOM, days on market. This is an important metric that kind of determines the health of the real estate economy in Charlottesville or in Central Virginia. The longer the DOM, that means the homes are not selling. The shorter the DOM, that means the homes are moving and it's a healthy market.
That is correct. So if you look at the infographic, the days on market are at 85%. And we talked about at the last show how Greene County was, what is the word that you use?
Booming?
No.
Thriving?
No, it's a Spanish word. Fire.
It's en fuego.
En fuego.
Yeah, it's en fuego.
It's en fuego.
Keith. Greene County is en fuego.
En fuego.
En fuego.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're saying it right.
My Yankee accent, is it coming out of?
You're saying it really well,
En
Keith Smith.
fuego.
En fuego. Just like you look right now. En fuego.
Remember the hair talk?
Just like Yonna looks.
Oh, yeah. So we talked about that, and so I think we have an infographic on that. So in Greene County, this quarter it was 88 days on market, and then on I apologize, that's in 2018 was 88 days on market. 2019 it was 59 days. That's a huge jump. So therefore, the reality of it is, if you're at a certain price point under 300,000,
it's going to sell.
Not only is it going to sell, but that's where you got to go.
Yeah,
because that's where the product is.
Right, and that's where the buyers are.
That's where the sellers are. At the moment.
And right.
And the buyers are going in there. So I wanted to kind of focus on that a little bit. If you break into it, like Albemarle County is considerably below the 90 days. Last year's first quarter, they were at 63. They're at 73 now. Charlottesville is ridiculously low. Last year it was at 35. It bumped up considerably to 50, but that's still pretty low. The one that was a little bit of the outlier, Nelson County, was in the hundreds. It was 149 last quarter. This year it went up to 182. So it's important data to know when you're out there looking for homes, because if you kind of, the closest you get to that 90, as we talked about, if you're below, so Albemarle, Charlottesville, Fulvana, Greene, and even Louisa's just a tad under 90 days, they're still sellers' markets. Nelson, on the other hand, is a buyer's market. We're considerably over 90 days. So I felt it was important to break that 85 down, and I'm hoping that somebody might have a question or two to kind of move us in a direction.
I think with the Greene market, we talked about this. The Greene market, we have the price points are good. We have the proximity to the city of Charlottesville. We have a municipality in Greene County that is improving in its amenities.
Agreed.
There's more shopping. There are more restaurants. Jack Shop Kitchen is now a farm-to-table restaurant. I mean, I've followed Greene County closely. Previously dated somebody that was from Greene County, and I've seen in my 19 years in Charlottesville of how Greene County is becoming. You know what it reminds me of? I think Greene County is going to be the next Crozet. And why I'm saying that is because it's proximity to Charlottesville, the school systems are improving, you can find inventory that's affordable, and you can still enjoy Charlottesville because it's close enough. And as the schools get better, and as like...
I happen to think the schools are excellent. I know some of the folks on the school board over there. They have a really good school system.
Yeah, and they've gotten better. I've gotten better.
Sure.
Correlation there, Greene County being the next Crozet. Yes, no, maybe so. Your thoughts?
So I think we need to define what Crozet is.
Yeah.
And that's a whole show in itself, which I think we're going to have some experts come in later on in the month. That's
Jim Duncan and Greg Slater.
Correct, yeah.
Are going to join us on Real Talk.
And talk a little bit about Crozet and some land trust stuff that Greg and I sit on the same board on. Standardsville just finished its revitalization.
Yeah.
Standardsville is a really neat little town. Will it ever be to the point that Crozet is as far as the dollar value goes? Maybe. But the bottom line is the market is moving to where the opportunities are.
Of course.
And the opportunities are in Greene County at the moment, Fluvanna County. It doesn't mean that the opportunities are not here in Charlottesville, but they're just hard to find.
Yeah.
And I focus a lot on that days on market. It helps architect the conversation with the buyer so we can set expectations. You know, if we're looking at a certain price point in Charlottesville, this is going to be a fight. We're going to have to really work hard at getting it there. If you had a certain price point in Nelson County you want to go, we're in a better position to negotiate with the seller. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think one of the things that I'm seeing is what eventually is going to happen is we're going to have this sprawl from D.C. You spend a lot of time in D.C. We're going to have this sprawl from D.C. into Charlottesville and Central Virginia and down 64 to Richmond. And eventually this is going to be one hugely connected corridor. We're seeing Richmond, Virginia spread west through Short Pump. Sure. We're seeing a boom at Zion's Crossroads. Spring Creek, anywhere you go, is booming. Richmond to Charlottesville down 64 is going to connect. D.C. is going this way. I know a number of friends and colleagues and folks that I run in their circles that are choosing to live in Greene County and in Culpeper and commuting to D.C. for work. They get the D.C. paycheck, but then they get the quality of life and the lower price points of Greene and Culpeper. So I think both sides, north of Greene and then also south of Greene with Charlottesville, it's like it's attacking Greene from a positive standpoint and having Greene have success from a real estate and an economy standpoint.
So my brother-in-law, James.
Yeah, he's one of them.
He's one of them, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, he's watching right now, James Watson.
We're actually at 12 o'clock going to do a final walkthrough on a house he's building in Lachlan Hill, but he works 4 days a week up in D.C. and comes back on Thursdays or Fridays and do that. So I'm going to diverge a little bit, and,
sure.
And if I get a little bit deep, please walk me back. But so as I sit on the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission, I sit on a couple of different nonprofits, but I gave a presentation at the governor's housing conference in September, I believe it was. So it was the same time that they released the notification that Amazon was coming to Crystal City. And it's just an interesting thought that happened to me. So I gave my presentation, 1,200 people. After the presentation, all the governor's teams from the speaker ready room person to the governor himself was, hey, this is so exciting, this is so exciting. After I finished my talk, all the local folks that lived there were pulling me aside and going, tell me what the market is like in Charlottesville, Greene, Fluvanna County. I'm getting out of here, which was really starkly different conversations. So the reason I kind of tell that story is literally it's happening, and I've received multiple phone calls working on multiple opportunities for these folks that are leaving, that this is different now. They're retiring. They're leaving Northern Virginia and they're coming to our area in Greene County and Fluvanna. It happens to be one of the key areas, and because they can sell their home up there, buy something decent here, pocket a little bit of a difference, and retire rather comfortably.
I love that. Sizzle reel that. Start with his first comments all the way through that answer. Keeley Kitchens in Georgia, welcome to the program. Bellamy Brown is joining us on the show right now. Jeremy Stanwyck is watching in Fluvanna. Give the show a like, give it a share. We got folks watching in Richmond, Grace, Australia in Richmond, Dan Barnes in Crozet, John Gilmer in Albemarle County watching right now. We thank you kindly for watching Real Talk. This portion of the program, guys, thanks to Roy Wheeler Realty Company, a trusted real estate firm. Roy Wheeler Realty Company. I had a conversation with one of your colleagues at Roy Wheeler. We were at the at ACAC in the locker room. Alex Ix, okay? And he's got a towel wrapped around him. I'm standing buck naked in the locker, okay?
Show's over. Thank you.
This is at
I'm done with
ACAC,
this.
and we started talking about real estate. And we were talking about...
Naked.
We were talking,
Naked. Did I
had
get
to set
that right?
the stage. This is literally true. It happened yesterday. Someone relayed this to Alex Ix, our conversation. We were standing there, and we were talking about the high-end market, the top price points.
Sure.
And the DOMs at the 200, 300, 400 level, very healthy.
Sure.
The DOMs at that million plus, little sticky.
The simple answer to that is, first of all, I'm trying to get beyond this mental picture that I have. Thanks. So how long did we...
Alex or me? So, we got plenty of time.
Both. No, I'm thinking about how many months did I commit to the show and how I can get out of it now.
You're doing it through 2019, baby.
Great. So, look, it's pretty simple math, right? There's more people in the marketplace at the lower number than there is at the upper level number. It is what it is, and so again, very rarely somebody can throw me off my kilter. You've just achieved that. But it's simply that.
You're saying just more buyers?
It's just more buyers. I
Yeah.
mean, are you in the market to buy a million plus house?
Not right now.
Yeah, I know I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? I know I can't afford one.
Yeah.
So, but you can afford a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house, right?
Yeah. Live in one.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So you think you're saying it's not an indication of necessarily an unhealthy market
Nah,
category? It's just the fact that there's less buyers at that price point?
I think that there's more product than buyers. So if
There's a lot of product.
yeah, so and that's something maybe I can bring back for the next show because that takes a little bit of time to dig into the data, and we can surely do that and maybe create a little infographic so the folks watching understand that market. But in very simplistic terms, there's more product than there's buyers. It's that simple. At the lower numbers or at what I consider more affordable to the masses, there's less product and more buyers. And my wife tends to say I oversimplify things sometimes.
I think you do a good job with it.
And that's about as simple as you can explain it.
Welcome to the program, John Updike. Thank you for joining us here
John.
on Real Talk. We'll give some props to some other people, and I got a follow-up question for you.
Sure.
Logan Wells Clalo, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Logan.
Scott Morris, your boy, thank you for joining us.
Had lunch with him yesterday.
My MG says, what is a kilter, and how does one get thrown off it?
So who said that?
Michael Guthrie.
He must be on his meds or something at home or something.
We could get him all. I think it was the wearing the towel in the locker room, Michael Guthrie.
Michael, that just really, I'm off-centered on that
Lee
one.
Miller, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. How do you, as an agent, because I believe you have one. I follow you closely. I'm on the MLS like 90 minutes a day. No bullshit, like 90 minutes a day. You have a listing.
So you're naked and you need to get a life.
I love this stuff.
Okay.
This is my hobby.
Yeah,
Cody
good for you.
Kaysen, welcome to the program. You have a beautiful listing as a swimming pool.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Ivy?
It is, yeah.
It's an Ivy. Has a swimming pool. It's a huge home.
Yeah.
It's photographed beautifully by the Yes Team Realtors. Get the graphic to contact the Yes Team Realtors on screen, please, Harris. And it's not north of $1 million, but it's flirting
It is.
with that category. As talented agents like yourself and Yonna, what are the challenges that you go through of positioning a listing in that echelon to sell? How do you go about doing it?
So the answer is exactly the same
As the lower price ones?
as a lower price,
Really?
as is an upper house. It's very simple. What I did today, right? I got up early in the morning. I prepared. I did some research. I mean, I have all the answers, but that's literally what it is. It's do your homework, understand the product, understand what you're trying to sell, understand the market, set expectations, and provide data. So you talked a little bit earlier about millennials, and I'll kind of pivot a little bit back on you. You know, be that trusted advisor. I think we talked about this before. And, you know, millennials love this. Provide data. They want to be able to trust you. And you got to be a professional. And you show up professionally. And sometimes you have to tell people what they don't want to hear, right? We talked about this last week.
That's one of the most important things.
It is. So, you know, to quote Michael Guthrie, and I think of this all the time when we go, I'd rather disappoint you now.
Right.
And I learned this from Michael. I'd rather disappoint you now than disappoint you later, right? So we do our data. I've got spreadsheets galore here. We know exactly what the number needs to be. We know what the absorption rates are, so forth and so on, and what we can do. We know our professional level of services, and we need to demonstrate that to that person. They may not like what they have. You know, they may have $1.5 million in their head, and that's not really where the market's at. So it, relationally wise, from a relationship perspective, we'd rather give you the data now. We'd rather give you the truth now, rather disappoint you now, than 2 or 3 months down the line, you're unhappy, the house isn't moving, and the relationship goes someplace that neither one of us wants it to go to. So, like I said, I learned that from Michael. I've always did some version of that in my career, but to articulate it in those exact words has been a great asset when you talk to somebody on that.
Love that answer. Sizzle reel that. Start with my question all the way through that answer right there. John has a question for you. Hairsmith and Company, is this a new Keith Smith business? I think this is a perfect plug for the Hairsmith. I'll give it to you.
No, John, that is my sister's wholly owned company, but thank you for asking. I do need to get on a schedule to get a haircut, and it takes a while. So
she makes him look good. Does she trim the mustache too?
Actually, I do that every
How do you trim that? You gotta...
I gotta tell you everything?
Yes. You look. It looks good. Because this part is the tough part.
So I've had this mustache since 1985.
Really?
Yeah.
So your wife has not seen a clean lip Keith Smith in...
That's not true.
34 years?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
34 years.
When I first met her, I didn't have a mustache on at 84.
Were you allowed to have the mustache as a Marine? Is there a rule against that?
No, the mustache is a rather emotional story for me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
don't go down that road? Or can we go down that road?
So it's in honor of somebody.
Okay.
So I had a very, you're taking me a little bit off here. I had a very dear friend of mine killed. And so what I did in the Marine Corps, you didn't wear any uniforms and all this stuff. And but for whatever reason, they required us to keep a Marine Corps high and tights and all this stuff, but we never wore uniforms. And was in San Salvador, and 4 of my friends were assassinated because we looked like Marines. And after that, the Marine Corps allowed us to grow facial hair. So I've never shaved it from that day on.
I respect that.
Yeah. So you're gonna make me tear up here.
Do you want a sizzle reel for that?
No.
Okay, I respect that. That's
you.
huge. That's big time. Got a tough question for you. Talking brass tacks and real estate. Q2, we're in second quarter, right? How do you? What is your prognostication, your crystal ball? And we can't see into the future. So this is 2 gentlemen spitballing and talking real estate on Real Talk. How do you see Q2 and Q3 shaking out in Central Virginia?
So this is probably going to be an oversimplistic answer, but the answer is I don't think it's going to change that much. I think the areas that have a tight inventory are going to continue to have a tight inventory. I think the areas such as the millions plus that we've been talking about, I think that inventory will grow a little bit because I think the buyer profile for that is going to kind of either stay the same or drop a little bit. Usually at that price point, and I may be wrong, and I'm sure there's other folks that will maybe disagree with me online, they're in the feed, but generally they don't have to buy, right? There's some that, hey, I got to buy because I'm moving and all that stuff. But generally somebody that's buying at that price point, the motivation to buy is not the same as the doc that I just helped the other day, right?
I think anybody 5 or up is kind of in that category.
I disagree with that.
Why do you think?
I think based on the area median income of 90,000, stuff like that. That's I would say closer to the 750 range. When you start getting above 750, I think there's enough product and turnover at that 450 to 550 range. It's also hard to find too.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I'll throw firsthand and throw it back to you. And I love the spitball back and forth with you. I think we could do this all day. Next time we do it, we'll do it in a watering hole off air. Then we'll have some real fun. We are in Redfield.
You promised me gin, and I do not have it.
Yonna would yell at me.
Yeah.
I do not want Yonna yelling at me.
I tried to sneak out with a bottle.
I don't want Yonna yelling at me.
Yeah.
I don't want Lauren yelling at me. Okay? You know what it is. Try to keep them happy.
Well, she's going to hopefully be here for the next show.
I certainly hope so.
Which will brighten this setup quite a bit.
Undoubtedly. And she will keep 2 guys that are mischievous on track.
It's a second Friday in a row, she told me as I walked out the door.
She said behave? Is that what she said?
She said behave.
Behave yourself?
And don't screw it up.
Because she knows we're mischievous. And we play off that with each other. And you know that too. Okay, this is where I'm going to go.
I'm just like, you had a bad mental picture, and I almost teared up. So,
It's the array of emotions on Real Talk, Hairsmith.
I think we ought to change it to
a therapy show?
I was going to say soap opera, but anyway.
Therapy talk with Keith Smith.
I like it. I could do that.
Therapy talk.
At some level, that's what we do.
Oh, as agents?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely, because it's a roller coaster ride.
It's funny you mentioned that therapy thing. So I'll probably get in a little bit of trouble for this. So I
like where this is going.
Yeah. So my sister is closing a new construction house on Monday.
Okay.
And it's full custom design. It's just a full custom home, and it's at that end of the job. Everybody's a little bit tense, and things don't go.
Are they behind on deliverables?
Yeah, but no.
Okay.
If that makes any sense, it's just the little typical punch list stuff. So her and I met up yesterday, and I reminded her because she's grew up in this business, that I used to tell people when we did full custom homes, I said, this is what we're going to do. This is the New Yorker coming out in me. This is what we're going to do. We're going to design a house. We're going to be together like every day. And then we're going to get a divorce, right? But it's going to be a friendly divorce. And then we're going to be like friends. And we're going to come by and say and hi to you and do all this stuff. But at some point, we're going to be done, and we're going to separate. And then because I got to build Jerry's house or Michael.
Take care of your clients.
Take care of the clients. But we're going to, and I reminded her of that, which she didn't appreciate, by the way. And I still got the sponsorship, so I must have done something right.
You totally did something right. Hairsmith, guys, on Market Street. The place to go. Is it Megan?
It's Megan, yeah.
Megan, his sister, John Updike. Laura Jackson, welcome to the program. Looking forward to working with you, Laura Jackson. Mark Lichtman in Fluvanna County. Thank you kindly for joining us, Mark Lichtman.
Hey, Mark.
Amanda Kathleen. Thank you for joining us on the program. Trevor James Hartwell. Too bad you don't sell houses in New Orleans, Keith, because you would be my agent.
So Trevor's a rock star.
Yeah?
Known Trevor since, I think he's literally zero. So Trevor, I tell you what, one of my favorite cities in the world is New Orleans.
I love New Orleans. I get in a lot of trouble.
I'll take a plane ticket and I'll help you buy a house down there.
But
you got to stay away from Bourbon Street, right?
Oh, that's where I like to go.
No, the Garden District. Any local.
I love the Garden District.
That's where you need to go.
The Garden District is great.
Yeah.
Spent my a week with my brother in New Orleans for his bachelor party and his wedding. Almost didn't come back, and it wasn't because of my choice.
So offline, I have to tell you a story. About
Okay,
that
tell
one.
me offline. This is where I was going to go with this. So we were talking about the real estate story. We live in Redfields.
Yeah, sure.
Say it's roughly a 450,
Yeah.
475 price point.
Yeah,
Okay. Myself, my wife, our son, a couple of German shepherds.
You need a realtor?
We don't. We're interested in moving. We're looking at Glenmore. We're interested in moving. We don't have to move.
Yeah.
We can stay in this. We can stay in this home forever. We're looking to move because we like to expand the family and need more space.
Sure.
But we don't have to move.
Sure.
So that's an interesting options are power in that scenario is where I'm saying. As when you're our scenario, it was very different than when I was at the villas at Southern Ridge. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in a 1,200 square foot condo. I got a growing family and some dogs. I have to move from the condo. I'm 36.
Okay. So over.
You're 47.
No.
48.
No.
Okay.
Try adding a decade to
Ballpark
that.
that.
Try adding a decade to that. So it's amazing how life changes on you, brother. And, to say forever is somebody who's 30 years old says that word. When you're knocking on 60-ish or well past your double nickels, life changes. We're in a 3,600 square foot house. We just happen to have a master bedroom on the first floor.
That's great.
Absolutely.
That's a forever home.
But I don't need that much, right? Yonna and I's lives have changed.
Because you're empty nesters?
We're empty nesters. We've got 3,600 square feet for a 14-year-old beagle and a 12-year-old cat. Literally. I should send you a picture one day. I have my thinking chair, right, that I can never sit in because the beagle and the cat are sitting in it. And
together?
Together. And they get pissed when I try to sit in my thinking chair.
So you're going to sell. You're going to sell, and then the problem is when you sell is you're going to retire at a beach. You know you will.
Maybe.
Maybe?
Maybe not.
Oh, get the Real Talk graphic on screen. I thoroughly enjoy this show. I enjoy your company. I enjoy talking with you. Anything else on the notebook you want to get out before we wrap?
No, I think the only thing that I really want to share, I cannot say how much it means to me that, and basically, we put this together pretty darn quickly, right? A couple of weeks. Put together content pretty darn quickly.
He sent us emails at 5:45 in the morning the day of.
Well, last it was 5:30, and you said that was too early, so I just added 15 minutes.
Thank you, Keith
I
Smith.
was going to hit 5:30. Maybe
I appreciate that.
Maybe I ought to wait 15 minutes. Next time you tell me a towel story, it's going to be 4:45. But in any event, so
you're on point today.
Yeah, thank you. So what we have been able to create up to this point is totally awesome. But what really touches my heart is in 1 week, we were able to get, Michael Guthrie, Roy Wheeler's helping us do this, Hairsmith, Heritage Mortgage. We've got a couple other folks that are going to be coming on.
And they're hopper, yeah.
And that are going to be coming in. So, first of all, it's just, warms my heart that somebody believes enough in me.
It speaks to, and you're not going to like this because I'm going to embarrass you. It speaks to...
Can't be any worse than the mustache.
It speaks to the character and the positivity and the honesty and the credibility behind the Keith and Yonna Smith brand. Because if it wasn't for the brand equity and the honesty behind the Keith and Yonna Smith brand, it would not have happened. And trust me, because this is my business. I totally, that's what it speaks to, Keith.
Well, thank you. I'm honored.
What's your vision for the show?
My vision is to honor the folks that help pay for this and make them understand that this was well worth their time to go and do this, because this is money. This, and I appreciate it. It's funny. I thought of it earlier this morning. I'm a little bit more mature than you.
Depending on the day.
Depending on the day. That's right. Yeah. So, AC. I can never walk in there again. The
Alex Six and I are there every day, and just randomly it's always together, and usually in the locker room. It's terrifying.
Can I cancel my thing online?
Alan Markowitz and Crozet, welcome to the program. Amanda Kathleen, hello.
Yeah, so we're going to mature. The show's going to mature. I'm going to get better at this with your help. Thank you very much. We're going to start sharing more information, create better infographics. My hope is if somebody takes the time, invests the time to listen to us for 45 minutes, other than us talking about our hair and
get on the sock cam.
And the sock cam. They'll be able to come out with at least one piece of information that can help.
Today was good.
Well,
you had a lot today.
Thank you. To help them move whatever their dreams are, their wishes are, a little bit forward. And if we can achieve that, that's great. Actually, the one thing that we'll talk off air, but I'm actually going to bring in a gentleman by the name of Paul Harris that when I talk to you about it, this guy's going to be so dynamic. He happens to be a client of ours. He also has opened up a Victory Charlottesville church that is focused on reconciling to one another in this city, and we're going to have some great conversations. So we're going to start bringing some folks on the show that are other than real estate on it. So hopefully I do good enough job.
Well, we're getting props. Rick Henderson in Richmond says, I've watched the show from start to finish. Thoroughly entertaining, guys. Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick in Richmond. Michael Guthrie, great show, guys. This has been very entertaining. He says, Keith can get our lending real estate broker network to help Trevor in New Orleans. Michael Guthrie, ABC, always be closing right there.
God, love that man.
Always be closing, Michael Guthrie. I like your style, baby.
You know, he has some medical struggles at the moment, and you can't shut him down.
I know. I love that too.
God love him.
I love that too. Right. Real Talk, guys. Fridays, 10:15 on the I Love CVille network. Thanks to the fine folks at First Heritage Mortgage, Mike Beatrick's team. Give Mike Beatrick some love. Thanks to the fine folks at Hairsmith and Company on Market Street. Megan is making people look beautiful. They can do it for Keith. They can do it for you.
Oh, come on now.
Thanks to the fine folks at Roy Wheeler Realty Company, a trusted, longest-standing, longest-running real estate firm in Charlottesville and Central Virginia.
It is.
Roy Wheeler Realty Company. The Real Talk is powered by, and cue up the on-screen graphic for the Yes Team, please, Harris Tolber. Real Talk is powered by the Yes Team. You're buying, you're selling a home. You need counsel, you need advice.
Exactly right.
You need someone to talk to. The Yes Team. The Yes Team. The Yes Team.
We'll take a meeting anytime with anyone.
Of course.
And chat.
Doesn't matter the price point.
Doesn't matter the price point.
Or anywhere in Central Virginia.
Anywhere in Central Virginia.
Love that.
We put 110% if it's 100,000 or 10 million.
I love it. Got
Thanks,
better
brother.
today?
Thanks, buddy.
Got better?
You know, give me a little bit of time. I'll
Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. My name is Jerry Miller. We're back with the I Love CVille show in an hour and 15 minutes. Harris Tolber is going to kill me because we ran a little bit long. Harris Tolber, I love you, homie. I love you. It's Real Talk, Fridays, 10:15 on the I Love CVille network.